much, Kenny. Kenny told me I had to be done by 7:30 so we could get all the awards, and then he made that 10-minute introduction there, so I stole most of my time. It really is an honor to be here. I was telling the guys at the table, it's like almost a walk back through my life as I think about, this is the 75th year of this banquet. I think it was about 62 years ago when my dad came to coach the Massillon Tigers, and it was an extraordinary time in our lives, and he went on, as Kenny said, and had an amazing career. And then when we had a chance to get into coaching, it seemed like I always had a chance to recruit this area, and I was trying to go through the program, and unofficially I think I coached 25 guys that were all county that are in that program, and just reading those names and thinking about those teams and thinking about the fact that they were sitting here having their parents congratulated, their coaches proud of what these young men have become, and to be a part of this and be a part of honoring all of you is truly, truly an honor. As Coach Palmisano was talking about what the world was like 75 years ago when WHBC started this, and hearing the name Jim Muzzy, that was like my dad's guy, Jim Muzzy, and when I was coaching, Jim Johnson was like the guy, but we were also in the throes of the Great War. And if you think about what we were doing for the world, it was a tough time in this nation, it was a tough time in the world, and they saw fit that they needed to come together for something that would bring people together, and for them to have the foresight at that time to begin this banquet, and the fact that you've had it for 75 consecutive years, it's really special. Kenny mentioned that I made a transition in life and became an administrator, and it truly, people ask me all the time, what was harder, coaching or being a college president? And I tell people all the time, it's not even close. It was a lot easier being a coach. But one day when I was a vice president over at the University of Akron about 7 or 8 years ago, I was in a meeting. And in all those meetings, there were all those brilliant people. I knew every meeting that I went to in the administrative higher ed realm that I was the person in the room with the lowest ACT score. That's just the way it was. That's what I lived with. But I was trying to soak it up. I was trying to figure out how you could be good at it. I always wanted to be the best. And so I was listening really closely one day in a meeting, and I'll never forget this brilliant vice president or something made this comment. They said, the single most important trait that one must have to reach their potential, to reach the top pinnacle of life. And I was on the edge of my seat. The single most important trait. I had been coaching 37 years trying to find out the single most important trait so that we could stand at the end of the season at the top of the mountain and have them say we were the best team in the country. The single most important trait. And the vice president went on to say, it's cognitive ability. I said, darn. Cognitive ability. I have no chance. But then I got to thinking as I was sitting in that meeting, and I had found out that those meetings are long. I had spent 37 years making a decision every 25 seconds. That's what we have to do. I sat in those meetings and we made a decision in higher ed about every 25 months. So I knew the meeting was going to be long, and I got to thinking about what the person said. The single most important trait that would allow you to reach your potential, or allow your group to reach their potential, and have that moment where they were standing there, at least for that moment, that season, being the best, was cognitive ability. I wasn't sure. Now I knew the best teams we had were the smartest teams. I knew the best teams we had, the very good teams, obviously had good talent. We were much better coaches. the better our talent was, the smarter our teams were. But was it the thing that separated someone from reaching their potential, a group from reaching the top? And so I started thinking through the 25 years as a head coach, and I was blessed to have some great teams those years. In fact, 9 of those 25 years, we played for the national championship. So we had some good teams. And I started thinking about them. And I was thinking, yeah, they were smart. There's no question. They had some cognitive ability. But I wasn't sure that was why we had a chance to be the best. And I started thinking, well, maybe I should have jumped to my feet in that meeting and begged to differ. And say, you know what, I think it's blank. But then I thought, I had this little voice of my father in my head. My dad used to tell us all the time, and it'd be good advice for all of you young guys, maybe even us old folks. But he used to always tell us, you'll have 1,000 opportunities in your life to keep your mouth shut. Use every one of them. So that voice was in my head, of that advice from my father. And so I thought, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But I am going to think about, if I did jump to my feet, what would be that single most important trait? What was that trait that made the extraordinary leader on our team, or the impact player that could raise the rest of them up, or the team that ended up standing at the top of the mountain? What was it that separated them? And I decided that that common denominator that separated them was those that ended up reaching their potential, those that ended up as a group standing at the top, were those that were selfless. Because sometimes we had great talent, great intellect, worked hard, battled through some things, but maybe started thinking about me rather than us, and ended up falling short. And other times we might have had a little bit less talent, maybe even a little less cognitive ability, but there was something about the group that all they cared about was the group. And they accomplished something that no one ever thought that they would. And so as I think about 75 years ago, in the midst of the Great War, this banquet beginning was probably one of the most selfless moments in our nation's history. Because we were out places, not even on our own land, making sure that this world is free, so that we can have 75 straight years of football in Stark County. 75 straight years of football in the great state of Ohio, in these United States. So as I think about that reflection that Coach Palmisano took us through in our minds, perhaps the single most important lesson that we were taught the year this banquet began was that extraordinary things only happen when we're selfless. And so on behalf of all of us that love this country, love this state, love this game of football, most especially to the parents, congratulations. There is nothing more important, there's no job more important in this world than that of a parent. So congratulations. The greatest vocation, in my mind, anyone could ever have is that of a coach. So congratulations. And all of you guys that are being recognized this evening, make sure you realize how fortunate you are to have those parents, those coaches, and those people that decided that the game of football was very, very, very important. God bless all of you. Go Penguins. go Bucks.